Welcome to the second part of the video series on human resource management. In this particular video, we'll be talking about human resource planning, why human resource planning is very important and how it can decide the fate of an organization. Let me start with a particular quote. Great vision without people is irrelevant. Great vision, whatever vision you have created for your company, becomes totally irrelevant if you do not have the right kind of people with the right type of abilities at the right time and at the right place. So a combination of people and the vision is very important, and this quote is given by none other than Jim Collins, the greatest author who has written the book Good to Great. So great vision without people is irrelevant. HRM on an overall is very important for any organization to succeed. Now moving on to the next quote on human resource planning. Why human resource planning is very important for organizations. Lawrence Possetti says, nothing we do is more important than hiring people. At the end of the day, it is the bet that you place on your people and not the strategies. It is not the strategies that wins you the war against the competition. It is the people that you hire. It is the people that you attract from the market. It is the people that you employ at your particular organization. It is the people who work tirelessly. It is the motivation that you inject in your people who achieve your goals. So human resource planning on an overall is very important. One can call it the fundamental work that a human resource manager has to do. Now, one thing, the basic thing that you have to understand, that the entire organization, the entire pyramid of the organization that you see is always under change, is always under a flux. Everything inside the organization is changing. Employees are changing on a daily basis. Some people are being promoted to a next position. Some people have issues with their family. Many of the women leave the organization taking a sabbatical when a child is born. Some people go on a long medical leave. Some people go on a vacation. Many of your employees inside the particular company might be retiring in a month or two. There are people who are looking for a career change. Somebody was in marketing but no longer wants to be in marketing. He wants to shift to the finance department. He's finding the marketing job boring. Some people will get sick and some people will leave your company automatically without informing. As a manager, as a HR manager, you have to ensure that all these people, whoever are leaving the company and joining the company, the movement is very smooth. It should not affect these kind of changes, these kind of promotions, vacations, sickness should not affect the production of your company. This kind of movement, the juggling, should not affect the productivity of the company and the profitability of the company. 1 hour of shutdown of any particular manufacturing unit turns into thousands of crores of losses. You cannot afford, as an HR manager, as a CEO of the company, as a senior resource of the company, to miss on any of these opportunities. So you should be proactive. You should be knowing your numbers very well. And what is the number that you should be knowing? You should be precisely knowing how many people are going to leave your company this year and how many people are going to join your company this year. As an HR manager, when you have these numbers at the exact right point, then you will succeed. And that is the essence at human resource planning. Human resource planning is basically accounting for the number of people who will leave your organization this year and the number of people who will be joining your organization this year. It is the difference between these, and how do you as an HR manager mitigate the difference? How do you as an HR manager reduce the losses that can be caused if these demand and supply of labor is not well taken care of? That is the topic of HRP. That is the topic of human resource planning. Now the essence of human resource planning is having the right people with the right capabilities at the right time at the right place. As an HR manager, you have to ensure that all these things happen in the best possible way in the interest of the organization. When you have done these hiring of the right people with the right capabilities, with the right abilities at the right time and at the right place, you will automatically find everything falls in place. The production numbers will be met, the motivation will be high, the profitability of the company will also not get affected if the essence of HRP is being followed. Now, this is the most fundamental job of a HR function. This is the foundation of HR function, to find out, forecast how many people are going to leave your organization this year and how many people are going to join your organization this year. Human resource planning is basically forecasting the human resource requirements for this particular year. You have to find out what is the demand for jobs and what is the supply of labor. What is your demand? Suppose your company is trying to expand, it is creating a new office at a new location. You require 100 people to be joining your workforce from in the next 3 months. Where are those people going to come from? You have a demand of 100 people. Where is the supply of this 100 people going to come from? If you know the answers as an HR manager properly, you are in the right zone, you are doing the things right as a human resource professional for human resource planning. But if you do not know your numbers, things are in a trouble. Now, in case your demand is equal to supply, suppose you required 100 people for the new location, for the new production facility that is setting up, and you have exactly 100 people ready, then there is no action to be taken as an HR manager. But suppose there is a requirement of 100 people at the new location and you already have 200 people waiting, 200 workers, 200 laborers waiting inside your company. So what is the action as an HR manager that you will be taking? The actions in place of a surplus of workers is that you will restrict your hiring. You will put a freeze on hiring because you already have 100 excess capacity workers. You required 100 workers, but you already have 200 workers with you. So what you will do, you will put a restriction on the hiring. You will reduce the number of hours. As soon as you reduce the number of hours, the production figures will come down, because excess production will not always result in sales. It will maybe result in excess inventory lying inside your company, which will be blocking your financial capital. You can also, in that case, if you have surplus labor inside your company, you can also ask your people to retire. You can choose from voluntary retirement schemes, and you can ask your people to leave the organization in a very, very soft way. Otherwise, you can lay people off. You can ask people to resign. You can ask them to move out of the company, or you can downsize automatically. You can say that we are removing 100 people from our workforce. So that is a thing that you can do in human resource planning if you know that there is a surplus of labor. Now, there is another possibility. When you compare your demand with the supply and you suddenly find there is a shortage of workers, you required 100 workers for the new facility, and as of now you have just 20. There is a deficit of 80 workers. There is a shortage of 80 workers. What do? You start recruiting again. You start selecting again. You start looking out for candidates inside your company who can be promoted. You start looking out for candidates who can be given new challenging job responsibilities inside your company. So these are the basic functions that are being performed in human resource planning. And why is it planning? Because you are planning things in advance. You are not waiting for the opportunity to strike. You are not waiting for the calamity to strike. You are doing things in advance. You are doing things 3 months before the problem has actually occurred. Why? Because it saves you time. It saves you cost. It does not affect production. it does not affect your profitability, and that is why human resource planning is very important for HR managers. And the first thing, it is the foundation of the HR function. Now if we try to define the HR function, human resource planning is the continuous process, just mind the word, it's a continuous process of systematically planning ahead to achieve optimum use of the organizational most valuable assets, that is quality employees. It is the continuous process of finding and planning in advance to find out the best and the most valuable asset of the organization, which is the employees of the organization. That is HRP for you. Now we'll be discussing the rest of the particular concepts in the next part of the video. Keep watching the video. It is full of interesting concepts about human resource planning and why as an HR manager you should be knowing about human resource planning. Keep watching the second part of the video. Thank you so much.